guys, it's Jen, and I'm excited to bring you another episode of my collection Disconnection using the Pink Paisley Fancy Free collection. Today I'm going to be using this photo of my daughter teaching my husband some exercises and stretches, which cracks me up. I don't know, I'm going to put this on autofocus for a second so I can show you a close-up of her face in the photo because it is hilarious. Anyway, she was super cute and wanting to teach him some stretches, and I just snapped this quick picture on my iPhone, but I wanted to document that. So I don't have a plan going into this layout today, but I do want to show you how you can focus on just a couple colors in the kit and make something with just a few of the colors. So this kit is nice because it has a lot of colors. It has blues, greens, reds, yellows. It has like the whole rainbow. So it's a really great one if you're wanting to focus on more greens and blues, like for a boy layout or outdoors or something like that. Or if you want to go all pink, you could totally do that as well. So like I said, this one's going to focus on the yellows and blues. Maybe a little hint of this red. I'm just honestly picking from the photo. So my daughter's wearing a yellow shirt. This is a painting she did. She painted portraits of everyone in our family. I haven't hung them up yet, but this is her, and she has a blue shirt and a little red bow. And so I might pick up on a couple of those colors. So I'm just going to go ahead and put you on fast forward and get started and pull out those kinds of colors from this kit.
So the first thing I'm going to do is go through all my stuff and find some blues and some greens and yellows that I can use for this layout. And if you saw the photo of the finished layout at the very beginning, you'll see that I changed my mind just a little bit about how I wanted to go about this layout. And that's mainly because of the fact that I chose to do a colorful title. And you'll see that shift change here, but I do want you to know that it's very easy to pull out a few of the colors to make a layout. This particular layout I just decided to go a little bit more colorful on, and I'm allowing myself to do that because I can do what I want. So the 6x6 paper pad has this really cute pattern paper. Well, both it's in the full and the smaller size, but it has this really cute pattern paper with circles all over it, and it is the perfect size to punch out with a 1-inch punch. So that's what I'm doing here, is punching out all of the greens and blues and yellows out of this 6x6 paper with my 1-inch circle punch. And I'm going to use those and scatter them across the layout. So you can see I'm pretty much sticking to that color scheme, but later I will add in some of those red ones as well. So I'm just punching those all out, and then I'm going to arrange them on the left hand side of my layout. And there's some of the circles that are punched that are just like they're like a half circle, but the way the paper's designed is that the words are still on that portion of the circle. So I'm going to use those little half circles as well. And they fit in nicely on the tops and the bottom and the sides. So I want to create some layers behind my photo, and I'm using a mixture of pattern papers from the 6x6 paper pad as well as the 12x12, because the 12x12 has some patterns that the 6x6 doesn't have, and so I'm going to pull a green pattern from the 12x12 paper pad. And I'm just going to kind of arrange them behind my photos. I'm not exactly positive how I want to do this yet, so I'm not going to adhere them just yet, but I know I want some green in there and some blues and some yellows, so I'm just getting different patterns that I can layer up behind my photos for that. And I'm just randomly cutting them. Almost immediately I knew that I wanted to use that little chipboard arrow to have it point down to my daughter, because it was just the right colors for what I was going for. And so I just took this sticky off the back with my EK Success powder tool, and then I'm looking through some of the tags thinking I might use them for journaling spots. I don't end up doing it in the end, but I'm thinking about it now. So I just pulled some of them out. And now I'm also going to flip through all of the die cut pieces. I end up using one of these die cut pieces, maybe two, but I found I didn't need a whole lot with all of those die cut or with all of those punched circles. So the papers are really awesome in helping me to get my layout done without a whole lot of embellishment. So they are the embellishment is what I mean. So now I'm just layering up the papers and figuring out how they're going to look best. And I'm thinking of putting that darker paper to the side and kind of creating an L shape with my photo and the journaling in that other paper, but I decided against this. I don't know why. I just decided not to. I didn't want the L shape to poke into where I wanted to put all of the circles. So I changed my mind on that. So I decided to start arranging the circles because obviously that's going to be a factor in how the rest of my layout ends up looking. So I'm just trying to arrange them so that the colors are evenly spaced out, and I'm not doing it in any particular, I'm not doing a specific grid pattern with the circles or anything. I probably should have. It would have looked better, or it would have been easier, but I'm just kind of arranging them and placing them down, and that will work just fine, I'm sure. So I lightly tacked those down, and then I am going to work a little bit more on my layers. So I decided that I wanted some white on this layout, and so I'm just taking some computer paper, just some cheap copy paper, and I'm going to layer some of that up as a large mat behind my photos, and I just wanted a little bit of white on the page. So I'm just randomly placing white in there. I like the texture that it gives. It's just a very subtle texture because it's all the same color, but there's varying like the papers end in various places. And so I just do that, and then I staple it all down, and then I'm going to go ahead and get my photo adhered in the center there. And I like the way that looks. I trim up a few of the layers, and I'll trim up a few more as I go along here. But now I'm going to work on figuring out how I want the rest of this layout to go. And this is where I decide to do my title, and that is what changes the whole feel of this layout. You can see that right here, this looks really good with just the blues and the greens, and you could definitely keep continuing in this vein if you decided not to use a colorful title like I just decided to. So I'm just putting it on some wax paper, and I really like the way that looks, and I like the pink in there and the red. And so what I'm going to do now is punch out some circles in the reds. And then after I do this, my camera is going to cut out. And so while I was waiting, my battery died on my camera. And so while I was waiting for the battery to charge, I decided to go and stitch all of these circles down with my sewing machine. And I really like the way that turned out. I just slowed it down here so you could get a good look at that. And I just used my sewing machine and stitched on the top of each circle. And now I am going to go ahead and get the rest of my layers going. So I thought that once I had all of those circles punched, there was this leftover bit, and it's kind of like punchinella, if you know what that is. It's just like the leftover bit from sequins. And I just really liked the open circles, and so I'm going to kind of tuck some of that into the layers around my photo just for fun, and I'm kind of layering it up and underneath and behind the white copy paper, and you'll see that better probably in the close-ups. Originally I decided to put some on the top and the side. I didn't want it top and bottom or side and side. I thought that was too linear. I wanted it to be a little bit more random. But you'll see that I'll pull up the one on the top because I'm going to put my title there, and it's going to get completely covered up. So I decided to put it at the bottom. So it's going to be at the bottom and on the right side. And I really like the way that this looks. It's just kind of a fun and different texture in my layers there. So here's where I'm moving that to the bottom. And I'm just kind of tucking it and making some of the pieces where the open circles are overlap with the white paper. And then I'm going to glue that all down to the background and get my title stuck down. And I'm just trying to center it above the photo the best that I can. And I'm slightly overlapping it onto the photo. And my photo has a white border, and I'm just slightly overlapping, just going slightly past that white border. And I like to overlap things when I can. And it doesn't bother me to put things on top of my photos. So now I decided that this little banner that says best ever would be perfect above the word stretch. And so I'm just putting some foam adhesive behind that. And I really like the way that looks. I put a little bit too much foam. It needs to overlap to be the same height as the thickers. And so where it does overlap, I don't need any foam right there. So it says best ever stretch, and I like that. And then there's the arrow pointing down to my daughter. And seriously, this was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. There's a little die cut that says routine, and I thought that was funny, like a workout routine or something. And so I'm going to use that eventually, but not like it is now. So I'm thinking about how I want to do my journaling. I haven't decided yet. I'm pulling out some thread because I know I wanted to put some thread on this somehow. I'm channeling my inner Missy Whitten, and so I'm just looking through my thread box to see what colors I have, and I am sorely missing. I need to buy some thread, I decided. So what I'm doing now is just I'm going to write my journaling directly on my photo with a white Jelly Roll pen. This pen works really well on a photo that I print at home, but not as well as on a printed photo from a store. So I have to go over it a couple times, so I just skip ahead on that. So back to the thread, what I decided to do was to make circles around the circles. So I'm just wrapping the thread several times around my fingers to create a loop, and then I'm using my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive to I draw a line of adhesive around the circle and then glue down the thread nest. So we'll see how this holds, but it seems to be holding really well. That Scotch Quick Dry adhesive is a nice strong adhesive, and I think I put enough to hold the thread down. So I'm just doing that on several of the circles, not all of them, but just so that I have a nice amount done. So there's like a few going from top to bottom, and I really, really love the way that ended up looking. So there are a couple red, a couple yellow, a green, a grayish blue, and then a couple of aqua. So now I'm going to do some finishing touches. I'm using the puffy stickers, and I decide to put a star and a heart at the top, the awesome and a heart at the bottom, and then I'm going to use some of these little X's, kind of like their thread holding down the photo. So I'll put one at the bottom and two at the top left. And I like the way that ends up looking as well. So I'm going to look through some of my other stuff. Still thinking I might add some more, but I really feel like this is pretty much done. So I decide that kind of to finish this off, I want to stamp the date, but I also want to do a little bit of spray mist. Oh, I'm looking up the date of the photo on my phone really quick. So I stamped the date at the top, and I used, I think, a navy blue. And then I'm going to just splatter some Mr. Huey's in Taxi, and that's going to finish it off. I'm going to come here and talk to you real time for just a second.
Okay, so here is where I decided to call this layout done. You can see that I started out wanting to just concentrate on the blues and greens and yellows in this kit, and I did for the most part with the papers, but I decided because I wanted to use these alphabets for my title, I obviously included other colors as well. I really like the way it turned out. I still think that this could include just blues and greens and work out just fine the way that I had started it off, but I'm happy with the way this evolved, and I'm not going to box myself into a corner. So just wanted to show you how versatile the 6x6 paper pads are. Again, I showed you last time how you could use just a few of the embellishments and get a really great look with only having purchased a few of the pieces from the collection, and I think that this illustrates that as well. I really liked using this little leftover piece from punching these out too. So I hope that you have enjoyed, and if you have any questions, just leave me a comment below. I will have close-up photos at the end of this video, as well as over on my blog at CraftyJenSchow.com. Be sure to head over to my YouTube channel on Saturday, because I will be having, and my blog, I'll be doing a lot of, I'll have a lot of process videos that day, as well as some freebies over on my blog, a cut file and a printable, and I will also be doing lots of challenges. I'm doing one with the Scrap Gals, I'm doing one with Felicity Jane, and I'm doing one over at Big Picture Classes. And over at Big Picture, any purchase that you make from, I think it's through the weekend, but I'll post details on Saturday for sure, with any purchase of physical product, you get a 2015 National Scrapbook Day kit for free. So I will show you what that looks like later in the week as well, because I have one coming my way. And I will also have my brand new class, Story Starters, up on my blog on Saturday as well. So lots of stuff going on. I hope that you'll head over to my blog and YouTube channel on Saturday and have an awesome National Scrapbooking Day. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.